What'd you think of Bad Bunny? I know you didn't see all of it, but you saw some clips.
Like most people, I didn't understand any of it. I mean, I saw there's a lot of dancers and a lot of big to-do stuff. And, he said he wanted to have a dance party. It looked like he had one. Not my cup of tea, but I don't fault that kid for, doing the Super Bowl, getting in front of a global audience. I fault the NFL for putting him in that position, and turning point for having to come out and have an alternative for people to watch. It's just poor kid.
Poor rich kid.
I mean, so far so good. I absolutely agree with Kid Rock. I said this the day of. This was the worst Super Bowl I had ever seen. I thought Kendrick Lamar was bad just because he did not perform his range. It was a whole Super Bowl performance, which turned into a big trauma bonding session around a Canadian dude named Drake. That's all Kendrick's performance was. It wasn't spectacular. It was trash. And the only people that read into it were black people. So are you doing Super Bowl shows for Americans or only for blacks? And that's why no one resonated. They didn't like it. Bad Bunny got even further away from the mark, further away from what Americans expect our Super Bowl shows to be. For one thing, just like Kid Rock said, nobody could understand them. I'm Latino. I'm Cuban. I speak Spanish. Bad Bunny speaks my type of Spanish. I can understand them. No one else in the room around me could, which is terrible because how are you expecting to entertain Americans and you're not even doing any songs in English? So obviously this was more so a virtue signal to represent something else. They were trying to show, yes, you should open up all your borders for Latin Americans to come into America and just flood in, stop deportations. Oh, little Spanish kids, you're giving them a trophy, blah, blah, blah. But wait a minute. If I go to these Spanish countries as an American, can I just waltz right in and just stay and do whatever I want to do? No immigration, no customs, no time limits. There's no fucking way. There's no Spanish countries in Central or South America that don't have deportation. There are Americans being deported from Mexico today, Colombia today, Brazil right as we speak, they're being deported. Every country has laws, but you're allowing this propaganda machine to pretend that the Americans in the United States is the only country with rules and laws, and the only other country that ever had rules and laws throughout history was the Nazis in Germany during the Reich. That's bull. It's complete bull and propaganda. Again, it was and then the performance was nothing like what you would normally see Bad Bunny do. And I'm a Bad Bunny fan. But when he burned the American flag, I stopped fucking with him. And then he was also wearing a dress while he did it. So there's really no recovering from that. I used to love his music, but as he progressed, the painted nails, all the gay stuff, the bisexual stuff, it's shit's weird. I don't like it. It's bad enough they're turning all the black kids gay. Now you want Spanish kids to be gay? I hate the propaganda. It's disgusting to me because, in my opinion, it just targets kids. As adults, we don't really pay attention to it because we are who we are. But when you're a developing child and you're given all this imagery, I think it's problematic for the future. So I don't like it. But so far, Kid Rock is absolutely correct. I mean, come on. They did a scene where these men are spinning on electrical poles. What the hell does that mean? But, it kind of worries me a little bit because I remember they did that show during the Olympics, and it was all this weird imagery of nurses and doctors and vaccines. And then, X amount of years later, they pretty much euthanize wide portions of the human population on Earth using injections and vaccines. So I'm thinking, are they trying to tell us now there's going to be an upcoming power outage where they're going to hit the grid, a cyber polygon is going to knock us down? Is that what this is? Is that what this part was representing? Because why do you have these Mexican guys spinning around on electrical poles? What part of the culture is that? It doesn't make any sense. And again, how are you expecting Americans to resonate with this when Americans, for the most part, don't speak Spanish? Most people on Earth don't speak Spanish. It's a very niche language. So it was a weird, strange thing. But I'll let Kid Rock continue because he's making some really good points. But then again, I'm a right-wing person. I'm an America first, America only person. Yes, I'm Hispanic, I'm Cuban descent, but I haven't been Cuban in years. I'm an American. If I wanted to be Cuban, I'd go back to Cuba. If you love Spanish music and culture and you want to do it, fucking move down there. Move, get a visa, because you can't just waltz over there the way you want the borders to be open to come here. Go through the proper channels, and you can just engulf yourself in Spanish culture. Go to one of their countries. But here in the United States, we're Americans. You're going to have to adapt, or you should leave. This is not going to be something we're going to fight over. But let's continue with Kid Rock.
Kid.
Poor rich kid. Man, I think this all started, man, I could go on for days, but the summit, I would think back 2016 when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, to protest, I think it was racial injustice and police brutality and everything that, we got a lot of people's panties in a bunch, self included. I did not agree.
I fell for that propaganda. At one point in time, I even bought a Kaepernick jersey. I never thought about what the hell are we protesting against laws? Or are we just basically going to pretend that we're not just pretending to be in some kind of fake war with white people? Like, it was just all bullshit. And to this day, Kaepernick's still on his knees begging to come back to this racist organization. If the NFL is so racist and they're all slaves, why are you begging to be a slave again? Just like when everybody tells me this country is so racist, then why are you so upset about deportations? Aren't you? You should be celebrating the fact that we're freeing these people and we're helping them escape the United States. I don't understand why the people that think the country's racist are even still here. Why didn't they escape to Africa? Ghana is giving away land. You can move to Nigeria. There's no Trump. There's no ICE. There's no white people. You can move away from people if you don't like them. It's just strange to me how these people want to hold on to something they pretend to hate. That's how you know they're lying. And this whole Kaepernick, matter of fact, let's see when the Kaepernick thing started, shall we? So let's go here.
So he goes, I think this all started.
Let's see here if I can find it.
What'd you think of Bad Bunny? I know.
Let's see here. Let's see what Cap has.
Okay. I think we passed kneeling. Yeah, I think it's time to go into actionable items. I think everyone knows what the issue is. And we're done with that.
Whatever the issue was, it had nothing to do with the NFL. Whatever the issues you have, what the hell does it have to do with the NFL? Why did you want to choose and then nothing was accomplished at all. We still have laws. We still have prisons. Black people cannot just carte blanche commit all crimes they want. Do a lot of police not show up anymore after George Floyd when crimes are committed against blacks by other blacks? Absolutely. Because no matter what, if you're a cop and you show up, if you arrest someone that's black because they killed somebody else that's black, all they have to do is say that you're a racist when you arrested them, and you can lose your job. And these are some really good, cushy jobs in these big cities. So what's the point of even risking it? Leave them to their own devices. But so nothing else changed except now there's just less policing of black people, which means that they are even more in danger than they were before. If that's what your goal was by kneeling, then I guess mission accomplished. But it just seems like a very selfish and narrow goal from something that it seemed like it was well intended, but it wasn't, and it served no purpose. And to this day, he's begging to be back in the NFL. So that means that none of this was even real. It was all just a power grab or some kind of grift. So this is Jay-Z saying that we need to move on and move away from kneeling. At this time in the NFL history, they were saying that all of the NFL is ran by racist, evil white people. And they said we need to show that we're more diverse. So they brought in Jay-Z so that he would show that they are not just all white people, that there's actually some diversity. This literally means Jay-Z is a diversity, equity, inclusion hire. He is a DEI hire. He was only hired because of his race. He wasn't hired because of his expertise. Obviously, he's fumbled 2 Super Bowls in a row. So he was hired based on his appearance. He's a DEI hire. So why, when that's pointed out by Kid Rock, is everybody so upset? I don't get it.
What'd you think of Bad Bunny? I know you didn't see all of it.
Us included. I did not agree with him, but nonetheless, he's got the right to speak his mind, do his thing. And Roger Goodell really had a real problem on his hand back then. And I think he was like, how do I get out of this and, keep making the tens upon millions of dollars a year that I make, in a predominantly male black league. So he goes like, well, maybe Jay-Z will do it, which nothing against Jay-Z. I respect him for his hustle and, his music. But it seems like there's a little bit of a DEI hire there going on, to kind of like,
And that's the thing. He is literally describing how Jay-Z was hired. It's crazy for you guys to all love DEI and want to see DEI and are mad that Trump ended DEI. You sure do take it offensively when someone calls you a DEI hire. Why don't you lean into it? Technically you're saying, oh, well, they say we're a DEI hire. That means we weren't hired on our skills. We were hired on our appearance, which is true. You were hired on your appearance. You were hired because you were gay, because you were black, because you were handicapped, or maybe you're all three. And I mean, and you got to understand, believing in oppression and racism in this day and age is a mental illness. You have a delusion that there are evil white people following you around and tormenting you all day, like a person with a needle stabbing a voodoo doll, and you're just like, white people everywhere, and that's the delusion they go through. So that is a handicap. So maybe you're all three. So you are, and if someone still gives you a job knowing you have all these mental issues and you're a liability to their company, it's only because they used to have to meet diversity and equity inclusion quotas, because the company, to get funding, would have to go to a bank. But bigger banks had ESG requirements for smaller banks, and ESG was environmental social governance. To meet those the ESG scores, they had to implement DEI so they can bring in more people and then show these bigger banks, hey, you should give us funding, even though you're not basing it off our credit and our history anymore. You're basing it off of our environmental social governance. How many trees did we plant? How many handicapped blacks did we hire? And how many white people did we exclude from the workforce? That would generate you a higher ESG score for your company. And they were doing funding for that. That's why they had all these banks going to the World Economic Forum, and they were changing the system so it wouldn't be credit-based. It would be ESG-based. But that's all over with now. Trump won. So because of that, no one has to placate to you and pander to you and pretend that they like you just so they can get funding from their job because of, it's top down from corporate. Now it's back to meritocracy, where it's based on your skill set. Are you a good fit for the culture of the company? Are you a good employee? Do you enjoy working here? Those are the things that matter. They're no longer just hiring people based on your appearance or where you stick your penis at nighttime. I mean, what if you stick it in a toaster? You want me to hire a toaster fucker? I'm not doing it. So the DEI is out. They hired Jay-Z specifically because everyone was saying the NFL is so racist. So they brought on someone black in his position to go over music, help plan a halftime show, because he was black, because they said the NFL wasn't diverse enough in their management. That is the definition of a DEI hire. Why are you mad at Kid Rock? That is what he is. That is why they hired him. It doesn't matter how much money he has. He's still a DEI hire. Biden said, I'm going to pick a black woman to run. He didn't say I'm going to pick the best woman to run. He said, I'm going to pick a black woman to run with him. A DEI hire. I'm picking you because you're black, not because you're smart, because you're good, you have good policies, you're an amazing human. It's because you're a fucking black. You consider yourself black and lost, black and confused. So run with me so you can get the other black and confused people to vote for me. It's DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. The diversity is because you're black. That's the only thing that makes you special. They can't hire. It's basically the opposite. Everything that's not straight and white is DEI. If you're hired based on your appearance or your sexuality, you're a DEI hire. They hired Jay-Z based on his appearance. Case closed. Don't be mad at Kid Rock. Be mad at reality.
Like, black guys love Jay-Z. And of course, I'm not that ignorant. I know a lot of us love Jay-Z, not just black guys. But in the league where he had this problem, it seemed like, we'll bring him in. And so, Jay-Z's not going to take that position of power and that money. So, then they convened in a not-for-profit league until, they quietly got rid of that tax exempt status at some point. So Roger did not have to disclose his salary. So he had all sorts of problems. So he brings in Jay-Z. And what's Jay-Z going to do? He's going to do right by his base. That's where he had Kendrick Lamar last year. A lot of people didn't get. I respect Kendrick Lamar, but wasn't my cup of tea. And, then this year you're like, wow, they're going to double down. And to me, it was kind of just like another middle finger to conservatives, to the MAGA
And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I never watched this interview. Kid Rock, we're on the same page. I literally just said this earlier in the video. This was more of a anti-Trump Super Bowl because, Trump doesn't like bad Spanish people, so we're going to celebrate instead of them celebrating the quality of the performance. The beautiful thing is TPUSA, I'm not a fan of them since, what they did to Kirk, but they did present an alternative that was an America First, pro-United States, pro-American alternative. 27 million people that we know of so far literally sought out and chose to change to an alternative event on their first time out. Now, Bad Bunny and them had 100 and something million, but that's extremely low for the amount of marketing and the fact that it was already going to play by default for people that were tuned in because of licensing, sports bars, hotels, whatever. But other people literally sought out this other event with TPUSA and went over there. That literally is going to Jay-Z. If they don't fire Jay-Z after this, then the NFL is they're just a bunch of fucking idiots at this point. There's no way you can keep someone after they did. This is like keeping Dylan Mulvaney after what he destroyed that brand when he was trying to promote beer and he's a tranny dude. Nobody wants to see that. All this woke DEI bullshit. What, dude, I'll be honest. It would have been a better fit if Bad Bunny had did FIFA or he had did the World Cup. That would make sense. There's a lot of Spanish people speaking countries that are participating in the World Cup. It would have been good there. But you wouldn't bring a K-pop artist to come perform in Korean in front of an American audience and think we're going to be like, oh yeah, this is great. We don't know the song. We don't know what he's saying. It doesn't make sense. And it is crazy. I see a bunch of black people celebrating this, but I'm like, let Bad Bunny show up to the All-Star game next week and trying to basically do all the performances in Spanish in front of a bunch of black people. Man, they're going to be throwing Hennessy bottles and blunts at him all fucking night. There's not going to happen. But yet, because you see the Super Bowl as being white and you hate Trump, you're okay with it then, but you would be so mad if this was done at one of your events. I don't like the double standards. I don't appreciate it. Jay-Z is absolutely a DEI hire. They hired him because of his color and how he looks, not because he's great at what he does. And he stole the spotlight from the Kaepernick and he put it on himself and he removed Kaepernick off the base. He's a grimy, slimy dude with a lot of issues in his past. And that's why I'm a Kanye fan. I don't deal with Jay-Z no more. Ever since Nas said, fuck Jay-Z on Ether, I get it. And it stands now. TPUSA won this debate. The NFL took a big loss. And next year, when it comes time to negotiate how much they're going to charge for commercials, their power structure is going to change because now you have TPUSA that's going to be hired, that's going to be offering a entertainment package for an America First event that's during the halftime show. At the same time, the NFL has never had competition before. Now they do. The good thing is those numbers are going to go down. I have a new company. I'll probably be able to afford a commercial at the Super Bowl based on how cheap they're going to be now that this alternative with TPUSA is here. But to be honest, I might just advertise with TPUSA because I don't want to deal with all the woke BS. But I'm going to tell you this, the price is going to go down. The NFL just took a reality check and heads are going to need to roll. They lost way too much money, but also you just created your own competition. You literally just created your own worst enemy and you don't even realize it. And it all because they wanted to feed into the woke bullshit and let a DEI hire screw up their event again. That's their bad. But you know what they say? A hard head will make a soft ass. So that's how it's going to go. Congratulations to TPUSA. Congratulations to Kid Rock. The first time ever, and people sought them out for 20 something, 30, north of 30 million once they get all the analytics. Success is an understatement for what they proved that they could do. Their first time out, were able to provide a super successful alternative to the woke NFL halftime show. Chef's kiss. Like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back on with another topic shortly. I appreciate you guys all for being here. Also, let me go through some of the comments. Kid Rock is great. You're great. and people love your business. You're awesome. Thank you, Juan. You know what? Maybe I'll sponsor you. I don't want you to get deported anymore. I take that back what I said earlier. I'm a veteran, a business owner anyway. Sorry to say. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't represent anyone. And then to be honest, Latinos, we don't really deal with, we're not all gay. We're not accepting the gay lifestyle. We're not going to allow them to push that on us. It's crazy. You have to make the decision when you're in your home country. Like, I can stay here and not make a lot of money, and me and my family live a regular life, or we can move to the United States, make more money, but my kids are going to be gay now. So you have to understand that if you immigrate to the United States, you have to understand your kids are going to be gay. That's the entire agenda, to make everyone's children gay. So if you want gay kids, move to the United States. If you want your kids to be like you, stay where you are and make your home country great again. And that's the message. If you're moving your kids here, your kids are going to be groomed to be gay. Period. In our home countries, that's not a thing. But in the United States, that's the future for your kids. So you got to make that choice. How bad do you want the money? Do you want the money so bad that you'll move to the United States and just give your kids and let them become gays? Or is raising your kids into a healthy family more important than you'll stay where you are? But coming here, nothing's free. It's going to cost you your kids. That's the message. So like and subscribe, share the video. I'll be back on in a few minutes with another topic. America first, and it's America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.